You can start.
Just start throwing stuff out, it's way in the back.
We'll call the workshop to order, and there's one little change because Ben needs to go to a concert.
Both
We're
Bens.
going to address Ben Jacobs first.
Good evening, I'm Ben Jacobs. I'm here representing the Medelia Baseball and Softball Association. As you're all aware, I'm sure we got a partnership that we run a lot of youth programs, softball and baseball down in the park. Last year was a record number as far as I can look back, over 110 participants. I guess the purpose why I'm here tonight is our association would like to donate put up a flagpole down the park. I'd like to put it in between the baseball and softball field, next to the softball scoreboard. I've also talked to a few other organizations and businesses in town, and they would also be willing to help support us in that effort. So I guess my request to you guys, if you'd be willing to accept our donation of a 25-foot flagpole is what we'd like to put up for that location.
No, what he's proposing tonight is if you guys would allow him to do that. Once Ben and his association get everything put together, we'll put a dollar amount on it.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and do a resolution accepting that donation. If anybody has any questions or concerns tonight, or reason why Ben and the association could not do this.
Okay. The flagpole itself was after tax $369 from what I looked at. Flag costs, depending upon the style and size, about it would be able to handle a 4x6. That'd be $160, and then we're looking at maybe a light to go on top of the pole itself. So total rough estimate would probably be in that $450 to wouldn't exceed $500.
I mean, I love bureaucracy as much as the next person, but why can't we just approve it?
Oh, I was just waiting for, first off, I wasn't gonna put the resolution on there if you guys were opposed to it. So we're hearing questions, concerns tonight, and I will do the resolution next council meeting if everybody approves it.
I'm fine.
I got no issues with it.
Okay,
Support it up.
I'll wait to hear from you for the official go-ahead, but if the ground is suitable, we're doing park cleanup on the 26th. I don't know if the frost will be out far enough to be able to put it in then, but.
Okay. So we'll look at the next meeting in March to approve the resolution to accept the donation of the flagpole on the softball field.
When is the first game?
First home game is, I think the second, I believe, is a softball game, right? Yeah. April 2nd.
It would be nice if it was up by then, I would say.
Yeah, the baseball and high school baseball and softball would like to start doing national anthems before all the home games. Everything that comes with that.
And Ben Lehman's here from the park department, so Ben, you have no concerns in regards to this?
Yeah. I'll just work with Ben, make sure there's no underground stuff out in that area, but should.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, now,
So now you guys can go to your band concert.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been.
now I want to go to Doug Fensky and the food truck ordinance, correct?
Yep.
Come outside and see everybody. So what we're looking for is, with the change of not having a patio, that, on occasion we can bring a food truck in and put it on Main Street in front of the brewery, because we have no other place to put it. And if we can amend that ordinance for Chris to do a provisional approval and bring one in. I don't think we want to open it up, so I don't think we have a bunch of food trucks just pulling up on Main Street, but if it's sponsored by somebody and Chris approves it, then, if we could have that. And right now, she can do it on Center Street, but not on Main Street.
And because we sold the property to the light plant, they now no longer have a place for a patio in the back, so they really only have one option for people to come and go.
that brings up another point, you know, at some point, can we do a couple parking spots and put some fencing up for some outdoor seating? People request it all the time, we bring a lot of people into town.
We
From
do,
everywhere.
so I love the idea, I really do, but I was up there 3 times on Saturday, and the location right by Center Street. If we asked an engineer, a traffic study of some kind, cause my fear is safety, you're right on the corner of Main and Center.
You know, I was thinking more like, cause the crosswalk comes right up to the far front door.
Right.
So I was thinking on the Alliance Bank side, and I don't see that would pose a safety issue. You know, it's no different than a guy parking his SUV with his work trailer, which happens all the time.
You're talking the food truck right now?
Yeah, the food truck, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I have the same thing, if somebody parks a motorhome and goes to Plaza for an hour and a half, or somebody pulls up.
We're not looking at doing it every week, we're changing our music to once a month, because it just doesn't pay, but you still need to do something to get people, you know, excited to come to Madelia. We haven't made money at one music event yet, but it brings excitement to downtown, and it brings
So it'd be
different
like
people to town.
4 or 5 food trucks throughout the summer, or?
Yeah, get that, you know, if we do it once a month,
Yeah.
you know, when we have the music, then we're looking at the last Saturday of the month. Last Saturday at Lost Sanity is kind of what we're thinking, for music, and even that is hard, now we're having trouble getting musicians, cause everything's opened up. Where before, we could get musicians all over the place, now it's, kind of a little bit of a.
And the truck itself would take a slot, or 2.
Yeah, we're
Ish,
two.
but, okay.
And the other thing is we don't have electrical up there, so they'd have to have a generator, and then the ordinance says
It has to be just enclosed, it just can't be a big generator sitting out.
but it could be one that's on their
Yep.
hitch or whatever.
Mhm.
In their truck, yeah.
But I'd like to amend it, so it would be with Chris's approval, so that, that you guys grant her the approval to do that, like she does, like she had on Center Street.
Is there a reason you don't wanna just do it in the parking lot behind?
Out of sight, out of mind, you know, it's just, nobody's gonna see it. And you can't get there, you can't go through our kitchen to get out there.
Okay.
You know, so out behind, nobody's gonna see it. And that was the issue,
So are you having that problem with your,
patio as well. People couldn't see it, and food trucks, I couldn't get them to come back, 'cause they weren't making enough money,
And this would not change the fact the alcohol doesn't leave Lost Sanity, the food would go in.
food would go in. Unless you give us a patio area that we could fence off.
Right.
Well,
Be a
that'd be
defined
We
area, but
can't do that, I
that
know
becomes-
we
yeah,
can't do
no,
that.
they've tried doing that in a bunch of other spots, not here in town, but in other locations on, for instance, Minnesota Street. Just can't do it, just,
But you go to
Can't
Big
keep-
Crystal, it's open carry, you go to Henderson, it's open carry up and down Main Street for the roll-ins. They don't seem to have a problem, so. You know, maybe that's something to look at.
well, that's probably an enforcement deal than an
Yeah,
actual law though.
because technically,
I don't
alcohol
know
and
if you can-
gambling does not allow you
Are they
to operate.
wristbanding everybody in those towns or what?
I have no idea, I haven't
Yeah.
looked at those things.
That's the bigger concern is, like, I'm pretty sure Bogfest, well, I know for a fact that Bogfest and all those on Minnesota, that was the problem, was trying to make sure that there was something that said that you're over 21 when you're out in public drinking. So, like if you shut off for instance, the block party up there, if they shut off the whole street and get, wristbanded, or Park Day is no different, it has to be an enclosed area and there has to be wristbanding to,
You know, if that was a condition for a patio, was just to wristband people, that's not a big deal. Well, over 21 wristbands are.
Right.
Almost free anymore.
yeah, I don't know if that would be. The other thing was always, it had to be a controlled space.
Well, let's stick with the food truck for now, let's worry about that, let's cross that bridge when we come to it, I would say.
But,
People sitting on
you
the street with
know-
alcohol concern me, that's.
Yeah, for other reasons. The food truck, I wouldn't have a problem with, as long as however their truck setup was, where the ordering was always done in
On the street, or on the sidewalk.
on the sidewalk side.
Yeah, they might have to park the wrong way,
Right.
cause
Yeah,
like,
That would make more,
TNT Eats, his is on the opposite side of everybody else's.
right, that would make more sense to me.
And that's the last Saturday of the month usually.
Yep, that's what we're looking at.
So, you know, it's a Saturday afternoon and it's summer and
What are the typical times?
We haven't even got that far because I haven't even lined up the food truck, cause
Just, you know, like Sweet and Deed.
so our music is gonna go 7 to 10. Sweet and D closes at
At
2:30.
2 or 3. but-
Yeah, just so it didn't, you know, if you had one.
and the
parked
bank
in
is
front of
closed,
her-
the insurance company's closed,
Yeah.
the auditor's probably not there. Well, they won't be.
Well,
by-
that would probably be the other thing, would there, just like for anything else, would there have to be a variance notification or a 350-foot closure notice or anything for the area that's gonna be affected? Is that something where you need to do something like that, some sort of public notification?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Only if there'd be in your outside music or anything, that's the only time you'd ever do that?
I would think so. I mean, I don't see a food truck having to implicate, a road closure.
As long as it's temporary.
Yeah, as long as it's only gonna be for a few
I know
hours,
that-
3 or 4, I mean,
Yeah, I
just
mean,
knowing your operating hours,
Yeah,
it's about a
usually
4 hour, it's
you're
about a 4
probably
hour
about
shift.
4 to 8 probably, or
Yeah.
somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah.
Because
You
we have
know,
to rate the
keep
vending
close
and-
with the hours of operation you have on Saturdays. Yeah,
And usually what we find is that the majority of the customers that come to the food truck are locals, because they can only eat so much pizza and so much Mexican, and actually the last time, most of the times, the first customers were Crystal's employees coming over, because, you know, they can only eat so much of their own stuff, so.
makes sense.
It just gives people a choice and just adds a little pipe to Main Street again.
I don't really have a problem with,
You know,
Chief?
Well, I'm still concerned about the safety issues. I mean, my concerns haven't changed from the previous time we talked about this with the food trucks and just the traffic flow and narrowing of the streets and making sure that the crosswalks are visible, those types of things, so.
yeah, but I don't find that any different than Main Street being packed on a Friday and Saturday night. I mean, you get a big,
Yeah.
3/4 ton pickup parked there, it ain't no different than a food truck.
Right.
So-
I'm just voicing my concerns. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it.
No, I'm just saying.
Initially, you know, I like the idea because it's entrepreneurial, it starts to open things up, we start to do things a little bit different. My biggest concern, like I said, was safety. But if they're just basically taking up 2 parking slots, and to Andy's point, the caveat is that that you're on the sidewalk getting food and not going around it, and the crosswalk's visible, I don't have a problem with it.
You know, you
So I wanna slot one.
look at Sleepy Eye, they've got them every weekend, and they're on Highway 14.
Well, yeah, but that was a COVID thing, and I don't know this to be true, maybe you know more about it, but folks I talked to in Brown County said they're not gonna authorize that anymore.
Yeah, I kind of heard that too.
That's dead on, that's.
it
not-
actually made the newspaper that they are gonna quit issuing permits for COVID stuff at this time.
Well, and yeah, my understanding was that was what that was for.
And so that was a
Right.
COVID thing that they
Yeah.
added on 14.
Yeah.
But
I don't
that's,
see Bedelia.
that's also a major highway,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a slightly different animal.
It's a wider road though.
Do we have to do anything with the county since it's a county road?
Yes. So Teal has responded to the request, and, at this time, she is not in favor of it.
And who's that?
Teal, the county engineer.
What is not in favor of it?
She is not in favor of it being on there due to this.
No, I got that, but what does that mean, like here?
Yeah, but she's putting on here, I am struggling against it, and not permit the activity on a regular consistent basis.
So if we propose to her that it's,
It's once a month during summer months.
And that the council's unified and that they would like to, support this endeavor.
And I guess I'm trying to understand specifically, she would not permit it. Is there, I mean, do we have to get approval?
technically it is a county road, we should get permission from the county engineer. And we have to get permission to do anything on the county
Yeah,
road.
'cause if you, were to say.
Well,
What do you think?
if you went back to her and told
I'll
her
work
she's
on
getting the
it.
lines painted. it'd probably-
Jim said he'd work on her.
I just, if you have a county engineer saying, I don't recommend doing this, and you don't have her approval and something like that does happen, it's almost like strict liability, like you're automatically liable for
Well, We've
potentially
also been
lost
waiting-
sanity, essentially the city, so.
3.5 years for her to paint lines on Main Street to
Well,
help
I-
slow people down.
I mean, I don't know anything, I don't know anything about her, I'm just saying that
Right.
her approval is vital to get having this done, and like Mike said, if everybody's united, and we got Jim working on it, eventually we'll get it, cause it's not gonna be frequent
I
or
would think-
often, just narrow.
Sorry to interrupt, Patrick, I would think you would have to have a reason other than, I'm against it.
Well, I mean,
I mean, they would give a reason.
does she sign something? Do we get a permit from the county to do this, or is she just recommending against it?
Right now, there is no permit, but there's a permit to do work on a right-of-way, cause he's in the right-of-way of the county road. And that goes to another issue, there's an entrepreneur making money on the right-of-way of a county road.
So we don't take anything from the food truck. It's just to bring people to town
No,
and
but
just.
they're making money on a right-of-way of,
Yeah, but
county road.
so is Crystal, and so are we when somebody parks. When they park on Main Street, we're making money off in that parking spot. Same.
If the council approves it, we have a meeting tomorrow. I know I got one vote, and Bill is a old Madelia boy, I think we'll have two. And there's nothing against the law that says you can't park a food truck there. We won't say you're serving food out of it, I mean, it's just a parking spot if she gets, I think I can work with her, if you guys approve it.
Well, I think the council pretty much says, we should let this, happen.
The only other question is, if you're gonna close it at 5, are you gonna cone it off for the entire day, or what's gonna stop people from parking there?
How did I get there? Yeah, that's a good point.
You know,
For the
what we do with the
entire
other ones,
time.
we go up, put cones out at, a couple hours at a time.
When they sees there's an empty spot, then he'll use his entrepreneurship and, put cones out.
But right now, people park in the crosswalk and stuff all the time because the lines aren't painted. People don't know where the crosswalk is.
I would prefer at this in time not to amend any ordinance. I would prefer that if the council does decide to choose to allow you to do that, that it is only for a short time, and this is it. Because then once I amend the ordinance, it sets precedence for everybody in town. And like any business could have a food truck outside of their
If there's a special
establishment.
event for the bank and they wanna bring a food truck in, hospital does it, they're not on Main Street, but.
No, they're on their own property. And that's why the ordinance also states that you can operate in that back parking lot, you can operate in the park. We've set forth safe environments for you to operate food trucks. So,
But they're not my food trucks, and I'm just trying to promote my business, we're just.
So, my
and promote
curiosity-
Downtown Madelia.
my curiosity right now is how much revenue do you actually generate by having that food truck there for your business?
Whoa, do we even, that's not the issue here. The bottom line at the end of the day is, do we wanna allow this to happen or not? Now, I agree, we may not wanna modify the ordinance, but what I think what could happen is we try this as a test case. And
For
to
the
your
summer.
point- To your point, we approve for the summer, the 4th Saturday of each month, for a food truck to take place, and at the end of the year, we can take a look at how much money is made. I don't personally, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't care. What I wanna know is, are we safe, and will it work, and is it functional?
It's no different than what we did when you did your thing out back with the music.
Yep. And we were very careful about not being late and keeping the neighbors up, and, we quit it early so that we didn't disturb neighbors and everything, so, no, everybody wants to be a good neighbor, and we particularly want to be a good neighbor to the rest of our businesses and stuff, so.
Okay.
Well, that you guys talked about it, and
So, I need to add that to the administrative items then.
Well, first off, I think we need Jim to discuss it with, Teal first and see how, if it passes over there, if Teal will give the blessing in that regards, and
I
then.
know she'll answer her phone, so maybe we'll call her.
Okay.
Okay, so then,
Okay, so, we are just going to just take care of the food truck then. As for you were requesting seating out in a parking stall too.
that's not a deal breaker.
That's another problem set to me.
Okay, so this is This is all that we're going to take care
That's
of
all,
then?
that's all I really care about, is we
Okay.
just get some more, you know, vibe on Main Street. And it brings different people. When we had the one food truck, people drove up from Westerville, Iowa, they'd never been to Medelia before. And half the family ate Mexican and the other half ate TNT, because some didn't like barbecue. So it brings business brings business.
So how many months would you be doing it then?
Well, since I haven't lined anybody up, it may be 0.
Doug, what's
It's
your
an
plan?
awful
though?
lot of work for 0, you have to have
In a
something.
perfect world, Doug, what's your plan? How many, what do you think?
You know, I'm, you know, it's too early yet. I'm thinking, you know, April through, you know, maybe September. Because otherwise it gets dark too early. And, you know, when it's dark out, people wanna be out there. Those other guys wanna go home too. We found that usually by 7-ish, they were about done. But there was always a few stragglers, somebody worked or whatever, and it was like I said, mostly local people that got something different.
Mhm.
If you live in Mankato, you got all sorts of choices. You live in Medelia, you got basically 2.
Have you talked to the bank at all about using that alleyway possibly? Keeping it off the street, keeping the parking places open, but
I
having
have
that
not.
alley? It's just a thought. That might eliminate the safety issues on Main Street if, you know, although I know people use that as kind of a
They
access
use that
way
for a
to,
parking spot for a plaza because
yeah.
Have people
They'd
park
have
right
to-
in the middle and.
They'd have to, yeah, they'd have to come through the back then and park back there, but I just think it'd be wide enough you could turn the truck either way, and that might be an option too.
So who's the president? Is Mark the president?
I'm not sure for
That's
Alliance.
Citizens, right? Or no?
No, it's
Alliance.
Monica Swanson.
Yeah, Monica.
Yeah, I would talk with Monica. Just a thought.
I can ask her and see.
Okay, can we go
Well,
to,
Lisa Lee was supposed to be coming.
oh, when she isn't here?
Can you text her and see?
Well, if not, we can move to Dustin. If we
Yep,
need
we can move to Dustin.
There we go.
I'm gonna do that.
to. Might as well.
Where's Dustin at on the workshop?
Dustin, submitted a
Dustin.
mowing proposal for the RFP.
Ah,
It's
okay.
after the inspector.
Okay, let's move to Dustin then. Or sidekick.
So, mowing RFP went out for the 2022 season. One bid was received and that was from Total Lawn Care. I did go through the bid and, there is a increase, but the increase is, due to the campground has expanded in size and just due to the general rates and inflation. So I took, the 2020-24 cuts, cause that was a wet season, I mean, we did a lot of mowing that
Yep.
year. So I compared our total, for 2020 was at $33,649 to his current bid, which would be 24 cuts, and it would be $37,844.92. But, again, this is based on cuts. So if we have a
Right.
super dry year, we could be looking at 2021 at 20 cuts, which drops the price, so. We don't know what the season brings.
Well, hopefully it isn't really wet because then the golf course is wet.
Does anybody have any questions, concerns, thoughts?
Now I can't complain about the, quality of work because they do the trimming and it looks nice and, between, Ben and, Total Lawn Care, the park system has looked a lot better, since we've had Total Lawn Care taken over since, John Hafe did it right before you, didn't he?
I'm not sure if you did before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do have to express, you guys do an excellent job. And whenever there's a problem, you guys are super on top of it. So,
But John also mowed the whole thing in about half the time it should have took.
So we put out an RFP, we got one bid. This is it. problem solved.
And the biggest increases were on the spraying side, right?
Yeah, and that's just because the herbicide cost.
Yeah.
Yep,
The one thing that is a little bit different this year is the locking into chemicals. So basically we bought all our fertilizer, all of our chemicals for the whole year. So I don't know how you guys feel. I guess we're willing to work with you on it, but most customers are on prepayment, and that's the only way it's gonna go, because we need to be able to make sure it's locked in. Now, with the city contract, we're not too concerned about that. We know we have a contract for the year, so I don't know if we even send them a prepayment letter month. Okay, so just so you know, if you hear people around town, oh, we gotta pay for the whole year, that's why.
Okay.
And that's why you guys do not have to, because it is an actual true contract.
thank you.
That is gonna get scarce. So if you need a roundup, I would get it.
How long is this contract good for then?
This is for a year. And so, just so that, you guys understand, we actually did extend last year's. So we went 2 years on that same contract, which is actually written in the contract that we can extend it if we're all in agreement.
Yep.
So if your prices go up, like if herbicide and everything goes up again next year,
Then we'll have to look at it, because last time I think Chris came to us and just said, hey, are you guys good? We're like, yep, everything's kind of staying the same, we're good, and who knows, I mean, likely not, but say it goes down, we can look at it, revisit it next time. It's not an auto renewal, right? It's just
No, we all
conversation.
it has to be
Yep.
approved.
Yep. Yep. Based off of that.
I don't have any problems with it.
No, I'm gonna show my ignorance here, so what happens next? We got one RFP, we like it. What happens?
We approve it.
Okay, good.
We approve it.
Let's do that.
And Jim came back.
Did you get a hold of her?
No, I did get a hold of one commissioner, I know another one will vote my way, but, his big concern is liability, is what Teal's gonna do. He said if the city, the vendor, and Doug have adequate insurance, he's okay with it. He doesn't want the county on the hook for it, if there is a problem.
So back to our food truck license that we have all the vendors sign, are they, then giving you their certificate of liability? So we have proof of insurance for all vendors.
He said he'd be okay with that as long as it wasn't leaving the county wide open for something, so.
We also run backgrounds on them also, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And he agreed we'll talk about it tomorrow at the meeting, we'll add it
Okay.
to the agenda.
You just
Yeah.
want
And
to
they all
table it?
need
So we'll, are you okay, we'll table it until
and
next?
they all need to be licensed with the state.
Yep.
You know, cause I don't want them, if they're unlicensed, I don't want, you know,
And-
anybody that's not.
And that's what Heather does, they submit all the paperwork to Heather and Heather goes through and I believe Rob's involved also with everything. So.
Okay,
Thanks,
Good.
Jim.
good deal. So, we're good with Doug then? And we're good with Dustin, right? Okay, so then we're gonna move back up to Medelia Sanitation. I saw her walk in, didn't I?
Yes, I'm here, over here.
Oh, behind the post, you didn't wanna talk to me.
I'll talk to you.
Hi Lisa.
Hello.
So in your council packet tonight, we have the, contract that we've been putting together, Lisa and I, going back and forth. Last council meeting, we did approve the increase in rates. This contract actually states everything. It also states an audit that will be done or performed between, and I shouldn't say, an audit with Medelia Sanitation and the city to go over expenses and revenues, and just to make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. So, if you guys had a chance to read the lengthy contract, does anybody have any questions, concerns, thoughts?
It still keeps the same liabilities and, at this time, we're not exploring going away from bag system and, purchasing dumpsters anytime soon, are we?
That's correct. I mean, we're looking at it as a business,
Right.
but for now, it's going to stay the same.
Right. Because you're still, charged by the tonnage from the truck.
Correct, yep. So at the Ponderosa landfill.
Yeah.
Are there significant changes from the last one?
Just the rate increases, that's it.
But that's already approved.
And that's been approved, so really the verbiage in there has pretty much stayed the same, but we made it more black and white in regards to the fees and
Yes.
everything. but we're also putting in there that we're gonna stay on top of it and not wait 5 years to address it. We want to do it every single year, so we know if there needs to be amendments to it.
Okay.
Right, that was the biggest change, was the yearly thing, instead of waiting 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that goes
Or
for
longer.
a lot of different reasons, obviously the prices, inflation, all of that stuff, but also, the number of units that we're building out in town are changing. Obviously, if we build a new house or different structures, that changes, so we need to stay on top of that, because that's what the contract is based on, is the units in town.
This doesn't create any unnecessary uncertainty for you, does it?
Nothing.
Okay.
No, it's very straightforward.
Okay, I mean, but it'd be like going year to year as opposed to going to 5 years, you're not worried about, I gotta do this again next year?
Well, the
No, not at all. No.
The contract is 5 years, but we will meet every year to
Perfect.
discuss that.
That's right.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes.
No.
So if everybody is okay, that would be an additional agenda item to approve the contract.
I'm good with that.
On, your commercial accounts on the alleys,
Yes,
do you pick them up, more than once a week, some of them, and some not?
absolutely. Everyone's on their own schedule.
Everyone's on
Some are
their-
every day.
Okay.
We have everything from every day to once a week.
You know, the one, oh, and that would be a recycling thing, because Hometown hasn't been dumping any of the stuff on the Main Street,
Correct.
North Alley for, well, Plaza's stuff's in the little, back spot by the
Yes.
liquor store.
And
The grocery
typic-
store's
yeah.
cardboard's blowing, yeah.
And typically, we won't touch those unless it's a special request from the business owner.
Business owner.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you want those cleaned up and Hometown's okay with it, we'll take care of it.
Well, I don't
We can't-
really wanna pay for it because
We can't really get it.
we're already paying for the service through
Yes.
the county, and the county's already got the contract.
Why isn't Hometown dumping?
I got,
I got a call last night. It's something that we need to discuss.
You guys can bring that up tomorrow too, cause their contract is up this year.
I told the person that contacted me last night that we need to talk to you right away.
yeah, 'cause I walked, I mailed mail and walking down the alley, it was just, you know, and grilling steaks, I knew it was bad at the Legion, but
Okay.
Plaza's really got a mess, and,
We send garbage through our snow blower every time we blow snow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We're always picking garbage out of that snow blower.
Something was off last week, though, they didn't notice like the meter was shut off. So I don't know if it's something that's,
They're short-staffed, we heard.
okay. What's the call?
Excuse me, anymore.
Yeah. Can't use that one anymore.
I would suggest we add the contract as an agenda item. If it hasn't already been done, Mr. Mayor.
okay. Then number 6.
Yep.
Okay, anything else for Medelia Sanitation or Lisa? So what else do I have on my workshop?
We can discuss number 5,
Okay.
which
and
would
what-
be Elite Electrical's camera system, if anybody had any questions about putting the camera system in the comfort station.
How many cameras do you have? Is it 4?
Comfort station cameras.
We don't have a camera system in the.
Nothing in the park.
It would
Nothing
be
in the park.
1 8-camera DVR, 4 outdoor bullet cameras, and 4 camera boxes, so yes, 4 cameras.
We were thinking, when I met with Josh last fall, we were thinking of having him in a way so you could catch people coming in and out of the park, both directions, east and west. And then obviously, on the south side of the building, trying to cross, cross them so they can catch towards the campground, and then towards the playground, and catch people coming, past that building.
So with the new campground, is there gonna be an entrance or an exit in the swimming pool parking lot?
Yes, it comes up the hill in the back and comes in there.
So will that,
Catch it.
that'll catch it?
That'll catch the entrance at the campground.
Okay.
We should be able to.
Yeah.
And most of that cost is because there's no electrical or no way to power any of those where they're put.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty simple, cause it's all, I mean, that mechanical room in the comfort station's pretty centralized, obviously. It shouldn't be real difficult for them, so.
But the cameras themselves are Wi-Fi, aren't they?
You're asking the wrong guy.
What do you mean Wi-Fi? You
I'm
can,
pretty sure
you can
they're
view them on a
It's-
phone or
yeah,
tablet.
it's a wired
I'm
system.
pretty
It's
Yeah.
a wireless system.
No, I think it's a wired system.
It's
I'm
a
pretty sure
wired
it's wired, yeah.
system, but you
It's a
can,
wired system.
you can look at it on your phone.
You can
It's-
go on Wi-Fi and
Right.
Yeah.
see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we have, with the internet set capabilities that are gonna be down there, we could set it up so that the stuff would be on my phone if I wanted it.
Right. Well, you really
Or,
don't want it.
no, but it's gonna be stored on
Right.
a system down there. If we have an issue, we can go in there, pull it up,
Right.
and retrieve it. And this all got brought up because at the end of the season last year,
It cost us some money.
we had a vandalism.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was a standalone issue, it's been an issue.
Off and on for the last few years.
Yeah, and we just sunk a bunch of money into it again. I got the floors looking good, we're redoing the inside, so, got the outside painted, inside's painted, it's been,
When do they usually open up down there?
when the frost is out of the ground.
Okay, so we gotta get rolling is what I'm saying.
Well, we gotta get the frost out of it.
Usually, typically, there's not too big an issue until, summer baseball starts. When summer baseball with the little kids come, that's when the biggest problems in that bathroom occur, because lots of little kids.
Has the system and everything already been picked out?
Well, what, Josh sent, so I would imagine Josh has picked one out.
Okay. I wanna talk to him and just see if it's something that's gonna be expandable. Cause at some point when we add power to the compost site, you know, when that street lighting and everything goes through, hopefully with Joy Avenue project or whatever, and there's actually a chance to monitor that gate.
That'll be another DVR system. Every place.
You don't want it to be on the same system.
I don't.
That's what I'm
Yeah, it's all gonna be on its own, just like, you could set it up so it all feeds to
I
the
don't know,
same,
logistically on the
but it
distance.
still needs its own system there.
So there's
Oh.
there's
It needs
one by
internet
the
there.
entrance.
Right, that's
So
what
it
I'm
needs its
saying.
own DVR recorder there.
Oh,
There's a camera that would be by the entrance of it though,
Of what?
of the comfort station.
There'll be 4 on that building.
for the comfort
Yes.
station, what I'm saying is at some point, we're gonna wanna get a camera, we've been talking about getting a camera at the compost site.
No, but I'm saying, there's one that would be pointing towards the entrance of the
Yeah, they're
comfort
actually,
station
we're gonna
itself.
cross, the ones on the south side of the entrance will cross.
So can you, would it be worth it to see how much more it would be to get one that would have audio on the camera for that side?
And the reason for the audio would be like loud muffler or like.
No,
a
I
noise?
don't know, I mean, if people are out there, I mean, at least you have a, if you can't identify me, you can at least have a voice to go with it.
That's up to you guys.
I don't know.
I can ask.
It doesn't have audio on it, but I wanted to see if you had one camera that had audio.
Any other questions concerned on the, Elite's, submission for his, comfort station?
I guess my one question is do you guys wanna table this or do you wanna approve this?
Ooh, we gotta go forward, we're running out of time.
If
This is-
I'm
yep.
asking for extra on the audio on one camera.
I would ask the question, and I'm a little out of my lane here, but the last time we looked, the audio triples the price. Because that's not easy to do. But, yeah,
It's right
yeah, but to be able to do that and record it, and be able to hear it.
online.
But you're talking about something that's outside, so
Yeah.
getting it so that you can hear. You can ask the question, I just, whatever it is, we
I
need
can
to,
pull mine up right now.
we need to
and
go.
listen to the radio
We
if
need
you
to
want.
get, need to get it done.
So we can approve it the way it is and then see what the additional, if there is a possibility. Okay. Anything else for the workshop?
I have one additional question.
Okay.
Chief, I appreciate the update that you had. Did they have a date on those, on the bills?
For approval.
You know, the information you sent me on the remaining pieces for the squad? Maybe I missed it, but the bills of lading that you sent me didn't have dates on them. Do you have an idea of when that stuff gets here?
Well, the parts, it sounds like are supposed to be coming this week now. It sounds like the housings are in, so the tracers that go on the bottoms are not gonna be in anytime soon from what he understands, so he's gonna wire some stuff in so we can go back in and connect and put that stuff on later.
Okay.
The lights that go on the back of the car should be here this week, so then he can get rocking and rolling on that, so. That's kind of where things are sitting, so I'm hoping that, another week or two we'll have the car.
Say again?
I said I'm hoping in another week or two we're gonna have that car.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the workshop.
So moved.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.
You have 20 minutes.